Mike, what's up, my man?
How are you?
Good, man. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Been nice and busy, so I'll
That's a
never
good
complain about that.
that's a good problem to have, man. What do you currently
Absolutely.
do?
What's that?
What do you currently do?
So I'm a budget analyst for the city of Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what entails that type of job? I mean, you got to be smart. I know that. Got to be good at math, right?
Uh, Math, strategy, policy analysis. So basically, I always like to tell people it's kind of like the business of government. So a lot of what we do, we develop the budget book, so like the annual operating budget. So me specifically, I do revenue projections and economic analysis for the city. So kind of doing economic forecasting, revenue forecasting, all that kind of stuff.
Very cool, man. So such a difference from online coaching. Why online coaching?
So for me, I mean, so a little bit about my background. So I decided I wanted to kind of get into coaching about a year ago. Back in 2017, I was finishing up grad school. I had just finished my master's thesis, oral defense, all that kind of stuff. And like I had just been feeling like crap for several days. So I decided to go to the doctor that we had at work. And at the time I was very overweight. I was weighed about 360 pounds at least. I think it was 366 the day I went to the doctor.
Wow.
Yep. And he put me in a room and he was like, "Hey, your blood pressure is really high. Like, do you have a history of that?" I was like, "I mean, yeah, runs in the family, but I wasn't really thinking much of it." He was like, "I'm going to give you this medicine. Come back tomorrow. If it's not better, we'll talk." Came back tomorrow. It was worse. It actually hit the point of what they call a hypertensive emergency. So he
Wow.
had to send me to the hospital. Basically, they were worried I was having some sort of heart attack or stroke in that moment. So sent me there. Thankfully, none of that. It was just very long-term mismanagement of my own health. And the doctor pretty much told me like, "Hey, if you don't make changes, you're not going to see 30." So it was kind of in that moment I decided I needed to make some changes. Since lost over 150 pounds. Then ended up getting into kind of fitness. I'd lost more than that, and then of course I lost most of my weight without doing any exercise or anything like that. But in losing all of that weight, you lose every bit of muscle mass that you would absolutely have. So had to go start working out and ended up doing a lot of weight training, like normal traditional weight training at first. Then of course COVID happened. Started getting into stuff I could do in my garage. So I started working with dumbbells and stuff like that. Started doing like HIIT training. That's kind of how I found CrossFit. Stumbled into doing CrossFit. Those were the first gyms that opened up in my area. So ended up going to CrossFit, fell in love with it really quickly, became a level 1 CrossFit coach in December. So got my certification in that. And that's kind of how I ended up kind of where I'm at now. So I decided I see a lot of people like, after I lost all that weight and got into CrossFit, I had a lot of people asking me, like, "What's the secret? What'd you do? Like, what's the magic bullet? I want to lose weight too. You lost a whole lot more than I lost, or I want to lose." And I'm like, the secret is you already know what to do. Unfortunately, it's a slow thing, but I noticed just a lot of people don't know how to get started or they get overwhelmed with getting started. And it's such an improvement in your quality of life once you do it. It's hard, it's a long process, it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it. Like my life has changed for the better in so many ways that I could have never expected losing that weight. So I know if you can get people started on that right path, it's just going to be such a huge improvement for their life.
So
So that's
you
kind of where I ended up wanting to get into coaching.
love that. So you want to basically share that experience for other individuals like you experienced, like that life-changing transformation, not just physically, but mentally, like that mental
Right.
shift, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So would you be kind of like incorporating like CrossFit movements, or are we talking about like all styles fitting that individual?
Yeah, it would be based on the individual. I mean, some people, that HIIT style training is just not their jam. And my thing is, especially for people who need to lose a significant amount of weight, it's just doing more than you did yesterday.
100%.
any movement at all is a step in the right direction. Because I know, like, when I first started exercising, I couldn't run for shit. Like, I mean, it was like I'd try and jog. I'd get like from my driveway to like 2 driveways down, and I'm already like, God, I'm gonna die. So I mean, but you just start by you walk, and then you'll set a guidepost, and you'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna walk these next 2 driveways, and I'm gonna run to the next driveway, or I'm gonna walk from this block and then run the next block or something like that. I mean, it's going to depend on the person, but I definitely would absolutely integrate fitness into it because it's so key. And I think that was one mistake I made, was not integrating fitness sooner. But yeah, it would be very dependent on the person, because some people, they hear anything with that high intensity training and they're like, I'm out.
Yeah, for sure. Totally get that. Cool, man. So is this something that you eventually want to be doing full time, or is it going to be a secondary source of income? What does this look like for you?
So, I mean, especially right. So I love what I do as far as my full-time job. So initially, and for the foreseeable future, it'll probably be something I do on the side. But having said that, I mean, the idea of helping people, I mean, very much appeals to me. So if it's something that I can convert into a full-time job, and it's something that can easily replace my income, it's an extremely fulfilling thing to do. Like, I'd definitely be open to transitioning full time, but for right now, it's something I see doing kind of on the side.
Yeah, 100%. So where you're currently at with like monthly, what would we need to get you to make to replace that current income?
So net for me would be at least 10,000.
Okay, cool. So we're going to give you some context behind that. Industry averages for online coaching is anywhere between $250 per month on the very low end, all the way up to $500 per month on like the upper end. Okay, so you got some certifications, you got some own experience, you're feeling pretty qualified, pretty confident. Let's just say on a hypothetical, you're charging upwards on average of $400 per month. Okay, so if you had 25 clients, that'll get you that 10K a month, right? So
Right.
anything outside of 25, 30 to 35 clients is going to drastically bump that bad boy up to where you can actually do this full time if you'd like. So I never tell anyone just to quit their job. That's not the goal here. The goal is that this is something that you do want to make a full-time venture one day. It's just slowly, kind of like, I want to think of it like as a, if you can see my hands on Zoom's working,
Yeah.
you can see my hands, like a slow progression, right? So
Right.
as we get more clients, we're able to kind of like reduce a little bit amount of hours. Then eventually, once we're like really building up momentum, then we can make that switch if that's something that you want to do. We have a lot of coaches that work dual jobs because they make great money doing coaching, but they also, like you said, love their job, and it's just another source of income for them. So any option works 100%. Cool. Now that you know the industry averages, we know what you need to make to replace your job, but what would you like to make best case scenario? How big would you want to make this thing?
I mean, sky's the limit, really. I mean, it's one of those things. I would want to make it big enough to where, I mean, everybody is motivated, of course, by, first helping people, then by, everybody wants to make a living, and everybody wants to make a good living. I mean, so sky's the limit there, but I wouldn't want that to come at the cost of the quality of the coaching I can provide to people. Because I feel like, especially with the clientele I'd be targeting, I'm trying to still hone in kind of how I would want to do it, because I'd want it to be as automated as possible, but there's still going to be a lot of touch points and struggle points, especially for people just getting started, because a lot of times they're so new to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it can be so overwhelming that I know, just by virtue of the client base I'd be working with, it's going to be a little more personal. And probably a little, I mean, everybody's got that emotional connection to it.
Yeah.
So it's, so I'm trying to kind of also gauge that. So I would want to grow it as big as I can, but without sacrificing the ability to have that touch point, if that makes sense. I know that's not like a firm answer, but.
No, it makes 100% sense. Now, outside of like, obviously want to impact people and, obviously make some good money, what else are we looking for? Are we looking for more freedom, more ability to travel, different opportunities? What are we looking for?
Oh yeah, I mean, more freedom would of course always be great. I mean, the idea of having a job where you can pretty much do it from anywhere. It's kind of like, I'll give this weekend as an example. So Grew up, my mom owns a business. She owns an in-home pet care business. So basically, I always saying when everybody else is off, she's working. So, and I help her with that, kind of on the side, and just kind of to take some burden off her. But yeah, I've got an elderly grandfather that it's harder and harder to go visit between my work schedule and her work schedule. It's her dad, so a lot of times we'll go together. It would definitely be nice to have a job where you're not beholden to a specific location, in order to, just go visit family. I can't remember the last time I actually went on a vacation. I think it was when I was in college. So it was at least 2010, 2011 was the last time I went on a week vacation. So yeah, I'm a workaholic.
How many hours are you putting in a week right now?
My job right now, so I'm starting to come out of my busy season now. So things are starting to slow down. I would say peak 60 to 80 is the normal week. Of course, it goes up from there. Their weeks work until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. During the summer, honestly, it's a more normal 40-hour work schedule. But during our budget development time, so probably December through May, it's chaos. It just depends on the day.
Yeah, 100%. Now, give you some context on some time frames to be really successful with our program. If you can dictate anywhere between 10 to 20 hours per week, you're in a really solid spot. Okay, so anything over 20 hours, you're in a dangerously great spot. So I tell individuals, hey, if we can really just kind of get down, I'd say you're going to be okay or good at 30 to 45 minutes a day. But if we can do 10 to 20 hours per week, we're in a really, really good spot. Do you feel like that's something that's reasonable for you?
Oh yeah, I can absolutely carve out that amount of time.
Love that, man. What do you feel like is going to be the biggest challenge to get this thing up and running for you?
So this is a whole new space for me. I've got a little bit of experience, of course, growing up helping my mom run her business and kind of formulate her business. It was I did a lot of the back end marketing, but the marketing structure for a small local business is completely different than it is for something where you're trying to reach, effectively a global audience in terms of like online coaching. So it's just a completely different way of thinking about how to grow a business, from that geographic perspective versus social media. Really, it's I think right now it's first and foremost honing in my product, making sure I have a program that I'm happy with, that I can, for probably 75, 80% of it can be self-sustaining, with those touch points kind of being that remaining 20 to 25%. And then really just figuring out what the logistics of this kind of business is. Of course, I'm, done my research, it's very much, creating those sales channels, and most of it's of course through social media, and that's a pretty new avenue to me. I've never been big into social media personally, so growing it and growing a business and kind of putting myself out there in that way is a little intimidating, but just kind of knowing what that entails.
Yeah, 100%. So you don't have to have a large social media to be really successful in this. We just need to make sure that we can figure out how we can resonate with other people and make sure that like we're telling a story on how we can solve their specific problems. The great news is you've already started like owning in on that specific niche that you want to work with. So as an example, I cater to high profile executives, men that are 35 to 50. So I typically speak to their pain points, which is usually there's an unbalance of time, right? They're usually at the office significantly more than they're with their family or their wife. And then if that's the case, obviously your wife starts resenting you if you're never home to help out, right? And then when you are home, there's a lack of intimacy because she's no longer in the mood because you're not present. So men typically, we kind of thrive off of sex, money, and power. So if something's missing in that, and I talk about that pain point, guys are like, oh man, he's talking my language right now. Yeah, I'm killing and I'm bringing in great money, but my wife doesn't want nothing to do with me. My kids hardly even know me, right? So if I can kind of show them how we can incorporate healthy habits, think about that. Men that are high profile, their nutrition's usually off because they're constantly on the go. Their workout schedule or their habits are completely off, lack of sleep, high stress. Those are all things that I pinpoint on. So I'm speaking to their specific pain points. And it's
Right.
not just necessarily like a lot of people on social media will post only workout videos. That's just a small piece. Yes, you want to show that you're educated and that you're an expert in the field, but people also want to know who you are outside of being a coach. What does your family life look like? You know,
Right.
like how are you as a husband? How are you as a father? People want to make, you want people to basically be like, man, I want to hang out with Michael. If that was a possibility, I'd love to hang out with that guy. Right.
Right.
That's how you're going to get them. Okay. So we'll show you different techniques to really like bring them in. And then as far as me, I wasn't really big on social media either. So I started learning, I think, outside of the box. So yes, a lot of it is marketing, but also thinking about what you have right in front of you, right? So your local community, how can you maximize that? So for me, I'm a well-known trainer. I've been a trainer for over 15 years here, but I'll partner with local supplement companies. And if I have my clients utilizing their supplementation, they give me discounts and they give me like 30 referrals a month because I'm supporting their business. So anyone
Right.
that goes into a supplement store is clearly has some type of health and fitness goals. So I'm already getting a ton of business off of that. My wife's in healthcare. So some of the most unhealthiest people
Right.
are healthcare workers. So I'll go do free seminars, conversations. I'll talk to the CEOs how I can enhance their health so there's less sick days, there's more productivity. Right off that, I'll get about 15 referrals every time I do that. And it's just me about
Right.
closing them down, right? So now I've used just a small bit of social media, but I've maximized on my home base is what I call it. So everyone's going to be different. Me, I'm not I thrive more on like personal conversations and presenting. But I've also I use my referral base pretty big, and then and when I do post, I'm very creative on how I do it and what I'm posting about. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, man. So what I'm saying is, man, with your own testimonial, dude, losing 150 pounds is a huge testimonial, right? I tell people this all the time. I used to be that gym douchebag guy that would take a picture with his shirt off. You might get a couple likes, right? After a while, people are like, who cares? We get it. You're in shape. Someone that's lost a lot of weight, like, you know, those pictures where it shows them like in one pant leg and the other pant leg is like they can fit in one size of pant leg. Those people
Yeah.
get like 2,000 likes because more people, that's way more impressive than a guy with ripped abs, right? Because more people can resonate with, man, that guy had to go through a lot of confidence issues. He had to go through a major discipline. He had to restructure his whole life, right? Like that speaks to more individuals than it does me doing 100 crunches on camera, flexing my
Right.
hands, right? So someone like you will kill this space because you've been through it. So someone's going to want your coaching because you've been on both ends of the spectrum. You were at a point to where your doctor said, hey, man, you're not going to make it to 30 if we don't change, versus now we've had a whole complete transformation. So your story is needed to be told. And there's people right now waiting on your specific program, waiting for you right now. That's what you need to remind yourself of. So you kill it. Cool. Outside of that, you mentioned you've done some research, you got certified. What else have we tried?
So I've gotten two separate certifications. So got of course CrossFit Level 1 certification, and then I've got National Academy of Sports Medicine Behavior Change Specialization. Those are the two that I have for that. Then of course, other than that, I mean, just kind of coaching people, just on the side. Of course, in the gym, being in a CrossFit gym, of course, I'm able to coach people on CrossFit methodology. Of course, can't do that by law or by their policy outside of a CrossFit affiliate. But, coaching people on just general athletics, general fitness, proper techniques on lifting. Like one of my coworkers, he's pretty new to lifting. He's trying to get into bodybuilding, and I've been helping him with like his technique, like with his squat and with his deadlift and all that, because his form was way off and he was complaining about like lower back pain and all that kind of stuff. So, that's really all I've been doing. It's more, just kind of an informal thing on the side that I've been doing. I haven't really ever been a, trainer per se.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. How would you like to see your life different than where it's currently at the next 4 to 6 months?
My life personally, of course, me, I'm still very much work in progress. Right now I'm sitting at about 220. I still have weight to lose. I mean, I'm still on that weight loss journey. even though I'm, 10,000 better than I was. So for me, continuing on my own journey, but I really just want to start helping. Like, if I can help somebody like improve their quality of life, that's what I want to start doing. So that's really what my goal is, within the next 6 months or so, once get this off the ground, just really helping people improve their life. Because that's something, you can't. I always tell people, like, because I'll hear people complain about, oh God, I'd love to do this, but a personal trainer costs a lot of money. It's like, it's really hard to put a price tag on the improvement on the quality of life you will have by investing in that. And, this is me telling them that as somebody who's not yet getting anything from them. It's, me telling them, like, you don't understand the investment that you're trying to make at this point. Like, yes, it's a lot of money, but I promise you the payoff on the other side is so much better. And the people who have listened, they'll tell me it's the best decision they've ever made. So
yeah,
that's
100%.
kind of where I want to be.
I tell people, this is the line I always use. People, you either invest in your health and fitness today, or you inevitably invest in your illness tomorrow. So you decide which one.
Yeah.
Right. Couple $100 now, or we're talking about $1,000 in medical bills and sitting in the waiting room for an hour and a half to be right.
Yeah. Oh, I use my own story. So when I went to the hospital, and I'll tell them this all the time, they're like, yeah, but it's because you might have the same affiliate where you're at, One Life Fitness. They've got a personal training program there. It ends up coming out to about $400 a month. And they're like, yeah, over the next, 6 months though, that's like $2,400. And that's like, that's just really expensive. That's like $4,800 for the year. And I'm like, well, I'll give you my own story. Like, when I got sent to the hospital, mind you, was not admitted into the hospital. This was just for people to run my blood pressure, give me some potassium pills, give me a blood pressure pill, run a ton of blood tests on me, come and poke at me a little bit. It costs me out of pocket with my health insurance over $6,000.
Oh, man.
In a hallway in a hospital. So I'd much rather have paid the $4,800 before paying that.
Yeah, 100%. What do you feel like you would need from a business coach or a mentor to be really successful?
I think for me, it would be kind of the guidance it's so ground up. I think just kind of that roadmap, really. I mean, I'm a pretty creative person. I can pretty much, I can come up with social media stuff if I need to. I love web design. I've done that on the side before. So websites, not really an issue. It's really just kind of that how to create those marketing channels and how to create those sales funnels, really. I mean, that space is so new to me. Like, is the best way, an ad is the best way, partnering with those people who are like, I don't know how to explain the accounts, but like the accounts where it's like they cater to a very niche group of people, say people who do keto, for example, and you reach out to them and they'll, sponsor a post for you for like $500 and you can get followers from that. And then you reach out to them. Like, is that a good channel? Like, I know of the channels, but I don't know what the most productive use of my time is. And so it's kind of like setting that up. Of course, I have never done training myself. So kind of the legal aspect of it. Like, what does a contract look like? What am I allowed to say that I can coach people on? Like, I know it's like here in the state of Virginia, I know I can't make people a meal plan, for example. Even if I were to go get my CPT tomorrow, like, I can't tell people, hey, eat this, 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 and this. Like, if you're a personal trainer here, unless you're a registered dietitian, you can't tell people what to eat. So like, how do you navigate those sorts of regulations where it's, helping people with nutrition without telling them, I need you to eat eggs, I need you to eat this fruit, I need you, that kind of stuff. So this is all stuff that's kind of hovering around in the back of my mind right now.
Yeah, to give you some context about the nutrition, we do, and you might not need it, but it'd be great, like a follow-up, but we do offer an optional certification at no additional charge. It's equal parts fitness, equal parts nutrition. It really helps with like program design, programming variables, the art of coaching. The nutrition side of things is kind of like how to build a healthy plate, intuitive eating, how to base your macros based upon, you know, weight loss or weight gain. Same thing with how to build a healthy plate. So you're providing recommendations. You're not giving them very specifics, but you can provide like these foods will help with reducing inflammation based upon your goals and da 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 da.
Right.
So that'll kind of give you a guideline on exactly how to do that. Now, as far as like sales funnels and all that stuff, the cool thing about what we're going to be doing is majority of this stuff is all organic based. So it's going to not have you costing out of pocket hardly anything at all, right? We understand that starting a business is already enough money the way it is. We're not trying to add additional expenses to you. Now, running ads and all that stuff, that'll be down the road when we're hitting past 10K a month on a regular basis. That's when we'll also start talking about bringing on maybe a DMer for you. Also talking about when to hire other people to start doing those day-to-day monotonous activities that you don't want to do, so we can spend more time on the things that really matter, such as like the marketing and the client delivery. We're going to go all over all that, my man. I'm excited for you, dude. I'm pumped. Cool. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go over a high level we actually have to offer. Then we're actually going to deep dive into the actual modules that we have so you can see exactly what we got. Cool?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, my man. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, right there.
All right. So as you know, we're the Next Level Coaching Academy. This is a pretty big deal. We're actually accredited through the Better Business Bureau. We got a rating of an A out of a possible A+. So that really shows that we're legitimate in our space. We're also backed by 3 of the largest certification companies in the world, ACE, NASM, and ISSA. So this would be continuing education credits if you had one of these bad boys, okay? Now on the success ladder, we've got 2 tiers. We've got 10K Accelerator, we've got Mastery Level Coach. Now 10K Accelerator is great for an individual such as yourself. Someone who's got some certifications, got a little skin in the game, but they're really they want to make an online presence and possibly transition from that 9 to 5. The information in this course can get you from 0 up to 10K per month in as little as 4 months. Now, mastery levels for individuals who have been hitting 10K a month on a very consistent basis, but their focal point, they're trying to get to 100K per month. They want to eventually step away from coaching. They want to become more of that CEO of their own business and make some hires underneath them, okay? Now, the 10K Accelerator program is really broken down into 4 phases. The first thing that we need to do, we need to get you some paying clients. We can't establish ourselves as a business without actual paying clients. So we'll help you with that first. Then we'll establish a solid business foundation. We're going to also help you create leads organically utilizing AI technology. And we'll even develop sales and retention skills to help you reach, sustain, and surpass 10K per month, okay? Now, on the support side of things, you'll have an assigned one-on-one coach. This individual completed both 10K and mastery level. So they have a 6 or 7 figure business of their own based off the information in our courses. You'll have a customized game planning call with that individual to review where you're at and where you want to be and what's the most efficient way to get you there. Every 2 weeks, you'll have Zoom calls very similar to this. You get to revisit the game plan, make any changes, receive feedback, and then get very specific instructions on what you are to execute for the next 2 weeks. Now, sales coaching, we're going to introduce you to a sales coach as well. So this will be someone that can help you get a larger return of investment, really show you how to lock down these leads and close sales calls at a 40% clip or greater. 5 times a week of group support calls that accommodate a 9 to 5. So this will go over client objection handling, client delivery, marketing, lead generation, mindset issues, even case studies, okay? And then you'll have 24/5 tech support. So outside of those game planning calls and those one-on-ones, you can text your coach as much as you like. They're contractually obligated to answer all of your questions. Now, becoming a fitness entrepreneur is awesome, but it's overwhelming at times. So we help with mindset issues. We've developed what we call the Zenpreneur method. We help with weekly mindset calls, journaling, meditation, even breath work sessions to ensure you're in a good headspace to move forward within your business. As far as the resources go, you're going to have that accelerator course curriculum. You'll have the Zenpreneur method we just got done discussing. And then we also give you agency outsourcing options when you're ready to make specific enhancements to your program. And as mentioned before, we do offer an optional certification at no additional charge. Now, this is the secret sauce to get you from 0 to 10K. 4 phases. Act first. What does that mean? We're going to launch our business. We're going to let people know who we are, what we're about, but we're going to utilize very specific strategies to get you your first couple clients. From there, we're going to help set up your backend administration systems. We're going to make sure you're a legal company. We're also going to identify what problems we solve for individuals. Based upon that, we'll then create our offer and pricing. So I know that one of those was one of your questions, how do I make sure I get to be a legal business? I'm going to show you step by step how we do that. So these first 2 phases, will be done within that first month to month and a half. The remaining time period will be in phase 3 and phase 4. So phase 3, developing consistency. We're going to talk about organic marketing strategy, utilizing AI technology to make your time more efficient. We're also going to teach you how to generate leads through our community lead gen method. We use WhatsApp group chat. And then we'll also teach you basic sales funnel creations to close down deals more efficiently. Phase 4, it's like the fine tuning. We're going to maximize your sales capabilities, help you get those calls closed down at a 40% clip or greater, really have a focus on consistent client delivery systems, but emphasize customer support and client retention to keep people happy for long periods of time. Any questions on that?
Not so far.
All right. This is the actual modules. Okay. So there's going to be a total of 32 modules. Each module will have an overview link that you can read. It'll also be associated with videos. Both the reading material and the videos are tutorial style, so you'll always know exactly what to do. First step to becoming a full-time coach. We're going to utilize specific strategies. Okay. The cool thing about this is the resources that we provide are pretty much done for you. So you're making your time more efficient. From there, we're going to move into the 10K Accelerator Directory. I want you to view this as onboarding material that'll help you become a better student. It really shows you how to maximize the program to its fullest capacity. From there, we're going to go into the roadmap. You mentioned you wanted one. We got you. There's 2 phases here. What do we need to get from 0 to 5K? What do we need to do to get from 5 to 10? So very specific instructions. So the expectations are already laid out. As far as your goals, if we're trying to scale to the moon and back, we want to create lifestyle daily habits to get you on pace for that. So we'll help you structure your day, how to, generate positive habits to move forward toward this. But we also work with mindset issues. So fear of failure, anxiety, self-doubt, those are all natural, normal feelings. How do we move past that to continue with our business? We've also identified the top 10 struggles you'll face as a fitness entrepreneur, but we've provided solutions for all those. Now, this is where things get interesting. Administration systems and ChatGPT. Have you heard of ChatGPT?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Google on steroids, the high-power virtual assistant. So we're going to make sure we utilize this for our convenience. It also enhances the user experience. We can utilize this for SOPs, generating workouts, even nutrition programs. Really good for content creation ideas as well. And as far as the backend systems, we'll show you how to set up Wave or Stripe for payments, DocuSign for legal client agreements, Typeform and Calendly to book calls and for people to apply with you. We even have applications you can utilize to upload all of your programming, all of your nutrition into one spot to make it more customized and convenient. We're going to do the same thing for your financial systems. We're actually going to help set up your LLC. We're going to help you get your employment identification number, when to open up a business bank account, when to pay quarterly taxes, when to pay yourself, how to set up QuickBooks, health insurance, business liability insurance, you name it, we deep dive into it. Now, the cool thing about this is if you were to file for your LLC the traditional way, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. This can now be done within like 2 to 3 minutes utilizing AI technology. We're actually partnered with Taylor Brands. This does it in a fraction of the time, essentially almost the same cost, but again, now we're moving forward with our business a lot faster. From there, we'll move into target setting. We're going to create your 3-year vision, your 1-year vision, your 3-month vision. We're going to deep dive into your very specific goals. From there, we're going to move into identifying your ideal challenge. What problem does your program solve for individuals? Based upon that, we'll create our offer and pricing. So this is going to be a more do it for you, do it with you, or do it yourself program. The more that you do for individuals, the higher the ticket offer. The high ticket offer will be established upon your length of terms. So we'll help with the structure of your pricing. We'll teach you how to create high ticket offers. And more importantly, we're going to make sure you understand how much you're actually worth. Any questions on that so far?
Nope, so far so good.
Beautiful. From there, we're going to move into organic marketing. We're going to show you different ways to maximize your sales and marketing capabilities without coming out of pocket for anything. But we're also going to show you how to do 1 hour's worth of work and get 14 different pieces of content created out of just that 1 hour. Okay, so again, being more efficient and having something that's done that's more convenient for you. We'll also show you how to set up podcasts and YouTube. So we expand our reach. We want more people to know what message you're sending and generate more leads off of that. We'll show you how to market for all things Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So Instagram is more than just randomly posting, very specific strategies involved. We use data analytics to track this. So all the way up to reels, storylines, what type of posts to make, you name it, we'll talk about that. We'll also show you how to market for all things Facebook related as well. So all the way down to the hashtag use, okay? And then of course, everyone's new favorite, we'll show you how to market for all things TikTok, how to maximize this site to really bring in a lot more people. From there, we're gonna move into content creation made easy. So we're gonna introduce you to Canva, Canva Pro, and then also Microsoft Designer. We want your social media to kind of be like a storefront. So think like when you and your girl are out shopping, something attracts you, you see it in the store, you want to go in there and kind of figure out what it's about. We want to give that same feel to those people checking out your social media. Okay, so it's going to be really good for page aesthetics, organization, editing, really good for logos, branding, the whole nine. From there, we move into the 10K lead generation framework. There's 3 different ways we do this. The first, we call earned media. I want you to think of this as like inbound marketing or people coming to you. We're going to show you how to set up a WhatsApp group. I'm going to show you why it's important and how it's going to benefit you. From there, we're going to give you specific strategies to funnel all these people in. So cross-pollination, example of that, you might be partnering with a coach. That coach's audience gets to see who you are. Your audience gets to see who they are. Now we're generating even more of our message and generating more leads. Free resources. Everyone loves a free workout or free nutritional advice. The one that I really like to point out, the scholarship strategy, is a great way to get a ton of people excited about your program and getting their personal information. And then we also do call to action strategies as well. Now, the opposite of this is what we'd call conversation to calls. Okay, so let me go back. Conversation calls is like outbound marketing. It's like you reaching out to individuals first. We'll give you specific scripts. We'll give you conversation and call examples. And more importantly, we're going to show you where to find all these leads on all 3 platforms and how to build and nurture these relationships. And now that we have that WhatsApp set up, we can now figure out who we're targeting, how to make that a more intimate conversation. So that way there's a trust. They're a lot more warmer lead by the time they get to that sales call. And they also have the opportunity to talk to other clients you already service. So again, it's just reinforcing how great of a person you are and the type of results that you'll provide them. From there, we are going to move into the referral strategy, the easiest way to grow business. Friends, families, coworkers, talking about how amazing you are. We'll give you strategies and resources to incentivize people to bring you more referrals without actually having to ask. Then we're going to move into the sales overview and fundamentals. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to be great at sales. You got to learn to love it. So we're going to show you some different techniques to maximize your sales capabilities, because we want to set up 2 types of phone calls. The first is a meet and greet. This is kind of like a screening call. It's a 10 to 15 minute phone call to figure out, do you really want to work with this person? Can you actually solve their problems? So we'll give you real-time examples with our coaches. This will move to that closing call. You're trying to lock down that lead once and for all. We'll give you specific scripts. We'll give you our entire objection handling web. We'll teach you how to create downsells and discounts. We'll even show you how to create financing options, which is a game changer for your company to get people in that normally couldn't afford it. And then again, how to lock down that lead once and for all. Once we lock down that lead, we want to go back and track it. We want to track how many calls showed, how many were booked, how many sold at a certain price point. We want to make sure there's predictable data every single month. And so we'll give you resources on how to do that appropriately. From there, we're going to move into the objection handling web. This is like all the excuses you're going to hear time and time again. Okay, we give you over 30 different examples of what you're going to hear. The more we can familiarize yourself with this, the easier it is to lock down these leads and kind of explain to them why it's so important for them to join your program. From there, we have the client onboarding process, probably the most overlooked area by coaches and trainers. This is someone's first 30 days in your program. This makes or breaks if someone wants to continue working with you. We want to make sure there's no buyer's remorse. We want to make sure this is a unique, special situation for them. This is where standards and expectations are created. But more importantly, we want to get them a resource in their hands within that first 24 to 48 hours while you're building out their nutrition and their workout. From there, client delivery is the fun stuff, the week-to-week process on how you deliver services. But how can we do this more efficiently? Utilizing ChatGPT for our workouts, for our resources. And then also understanding your communication styles. No matter how good you are, this will happen. A client will ghost you. Someone's going to quit. Someone's not going to listen. It's inevitable, right? So usually when this happens, it's because they want to be a part of a larger community. Maybe they want more one-on-one touch points with you. Some of them want more challenges, and some of them want to be incentivized to do what's already expected of them. So we'll give you resources and strategies to get them to execute at a higher level. From there, we're going to move into customer support, the not so fun side of things. cancellations, refund requests. How do we handle that? How do we mitigate it for the upcoming months, and how do we track it? And then lastly, we'll move into retention. We want to keep people for long periods of time. We want to advance into higher levels of your programming and your nutrition. So we'll teach you how to do that and also how to track it. Do a quick recap and we'll answer all of your questions. Cool?
Sounds good.
All right, my man. The program itself, 4 months long. You have your customized game planning call. You're going to have that one-on-one coach the entire time with you. You'll have one-on-one coaching calls every 2 weeks. You'll have a one-on-one private sales coach. You'll have the Facebook community and CEO trainings, 5 times a week group support calls, 24/5 tech support, the business course curriculum, and optional certification. Is there anything you feel like we're missing here?
I can think of.
Beautiful. How are we thinking? Do we like it? Do we love it? Do we hate it?
No, I mean, it's a bit overwhelming. It's a lot of information. No, but I mean, it sounds like you've got a well thought out, process and program here.
Now, the beautiful thing about this is you mentioned, like, man, 32 modules, there's so much stuff in there, right? The beautiful thing about this is you're not going through it and then executing. You're executing as you go, and you have that guidance. So again, your coach will say, hey, for the first couple of weeks, let's really focus on X, Y, and Z. Boom, you'll execute that and then on to the next. So with that additional support, it doesn't feel that overwhelming. So when I went through it, I utilized that free Facebook group a ton, that private Facebook group. I was on there all the time because if I had other questions, sometimes I'd ask that coach that, but I was a little bit mischievous. So I'd go also ask that question in the Facebook group to see what other people would say. So that way you get different perspectives as well. And that helped out quite a bit. And then the game changer though, they didn't have this when I went through it, but to have a sales coach, most programs, I don't know any program that actually encompasses all that. And that's where a lot of people will go through a program, but they still struggle with sales. They'll end up having to invest in a separate sales coach. Having this included in this program is a complete game changer because you can already start kind of customizing your scripts, how you're responding, doing mock role plays. It's phenomenal to get you that return. Did you get a chance to check out any testimonials?
I was able to watch 1 or 2. And I think I ended up listening to a podcast of one of them as well.
Okay, awesome. I'll go to client averages really quick because a lot of people want to know what the basic person's doing. So this is pretty cool. 73% of our students sign their first client in month 1. On average, it just takes them 1 week to do so. Okay. So the cool thing about this statistic is the individuals that sign their first client in month 1, by the end of month 4, are averaging over $8K per month. Now, the individuals that don't sign their first client in month 1, but by the end of month 4, are averaging $6,500. So just to be a basic mediocre student, you can expect to make $6,500 to $8K. Okay. Now, I don't see you as a basic mediocre guy. Someone that lost 150 pounds is anything but that, right? Now, this is pretty cool. Of the students who hit a 10K month, it takes them on average just 13 weeks to do so. And then the students who stay with us 12 months have 97 clients on their roster. Those individuals that have 97 clients are averaging $366,000 per year. And then our students are grading their program a 4.5 out of 5 on average, which means they're getting massive results for their respective businesses. Any questions on that?
Not so far. Yep, I think I'm good.
Cool, man. Now, next we'll talk about the investment portion. What's this thing going to cost us, right? Did you get a chance to hear about the 3 times your investment guarantee?
I think I heard it briefly. Somebody had popped in my office right when I was listening to that at the same time. So
for sure. So the cool thing about this is a lot of companies will have a money back guarantee. We have that, but we also guarantee you 3 times the amount that you invest in. Now, terms and conditions, obviously, you'd have to attend your game planning call, pretty standard. Attend all of your one-on-one coaching calls, which is 2 per month, 1 group support call each week, charge at least the bare minimum suggested prices of $250 per client or more. All right. Run a scholarship strategy within the first 90 days. Don't spend longer than 2 weeks on optional certification. You might not even need that because you're already certified, but if you wanted, I'll throw that in there. And have no late payments. Okay. So you do all that, show up and just do the work. We're guaranteeing you'll 3 times the amount you invested, or your 100% money back guarantee. Does that give you a little bit more confidence?
It does. It does give you a little bit of a safety net feeling.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. So before we kind of dive into what this actual is going to cost us, what do you like? You kind of want to give me a recap of what you feel like coaching is going to give you and your family specifically?
I mean, so for me personally, I think it's, the fulfillment aspect of, helping people, getting people to live a healthier lifestyle, but, also if I can build something to make it something that would replace my current position, that would, of course, the flexibility to, you know, uh, be able to travel a bit more, have a little bit more time just to spend with family, not in the office, would absolutely be fantastic. And, the idea of having essentially uncapped income is always appealing.
Absolutely. I don't know anyone that will turn down uncapped money, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. So what's this thing going to cost us? There's going to be a payment plan and there'll be a paid in full option. Okay. Payment plan
Okay.
means we put down a down deposit. We spread it out over 4 months. Paid in full just means we pay the whole thing off up in front and we save a significant amount of money. Okay. Now we also
Okay.
have extended payment plans. We also have financing options. So if this is 100% in alignment with what you want, financing or financials is the easiest thing for me to work around. Cool.
Okay.
All right. What's it going to cost, man? Only $100,000 in your left kidney. I'm just playing, man. No, there's a payment plan of $7,000, and then there's a paid in full option of $6,200 that saves you $800. Out of those two, which do you think works best for you?
Not sure at the moment. I would probably lean toward the paid in full. But from a cash flow perspective, it's always nice to have a payment option.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Cool. So we'll start with the payment plan first and how that would work. Okay. I'm going to give you what the average student will put down. Okay. So the average student, if they're doing a payment plan, will put down around 2,300. That takes that 7,000 down to 4,700. You divide that over 4 months, it's about 1,175 per month, which is equivalent to you needing 3 to 5 clients, depending on what you're charging. Pretty reasonable. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the paid in full option, man, if this is something that you truly are leaning towards and you're feeling really confident about our program, I would do a one-off for you. I'd turn that paid in full into an actual payment plan. We just do a split PIF, which means we put 3,100 down today. I'd give you 60 days to pay out that second half. And the premise behind that is you'd have quite a few clients. You'd start having being more confident. You'd have more time to generate more leads.
Gotcha.
Did those feel like something we could commit to?
I definitely want to think about it. It is a big investment.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to take a minute to think about it. And but no, I mean it's reasonable. I've talked to one other company so far, and you're less than half the price. There is that. But no, it's definitely a big investment. So I definitely want to think about it. But no, it seems like there's a lot of value packed in there. And I definitely want to commit at a time where I know for a fact I have the time to really lock in. So like I mentioned before, work's slowing down right about now. So I'm expecting probably so I just onboarded a new employee last week, getting him trained up. I've got a couple council meetings coming up. I'm expecting for things to truly be back to a good pace in July. So that's kind of where I'm aiming at right now to really buckle down and start looking at making things happen with this. So yeah, no, you definitely give me a lot to think about. I think it's a great program. Definitely a lot of value packed in that, but yeah, I think that's probably what I'm looking at in terms of a timeline.
Cool. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Let's take moving forward off the table. Let me just ask you a few questions. After seeing the presentation, do you feel like this checks off all your boxes that you're looking for?
I think so. I definitely want to read through my notes again. As far as I can tell right now, absolutely, it checks off all the boxes, especially because one of the concerns I had was, of course, getting all like the contracts and all that kind of stuff set up. And I think you guys are the only one that offers help with that aspect of it. But I mean, as far as the,
Yep.
the path,
We
the
have that all set
education
up in
path,
your
all looks good. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, are you 100% confident in your own skill set and ability to follow through with this, with the support and education?
Oh yeah. Once I've got the time commitment, I have no doubt that I would be able to follow through with it. I just think it would be unfair to my coach and, well, to myself right now to try and start this right now, only because I've got so many other things that I've got to get cleared off my plate. But once I've got that time, absolutely.
Yeah, let me ask you this. I know you got a ton on your plate. I know you're really busy. I'm glad that your season's starting to slow down for you a little bit so you can actually breathe, right? But quick question. Do you feel like it would be worth at least getting your back end system set up so by the time July comes, you're running on full tilt? What does that look like for you? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's possible. It's something to think about. What would that kind of setup look like?
So what we'd be doing is, the beautiful thing about this is we're still helping you obtain clients as you go. So now we're just going to be focusing more on the back end systems, like getting your payment processing all set up, getting your agreements all set up, things of that nature, getting your LLC, all those little tiny things, that's minute things that we can have done. But you would
Yeah.
still be doing tiny things that don't cost, that doesn't take a lot of time, like creating different posts or strategies that we have you implement would take like maybe 20 minutes. If you could dictate, like right now, if you could dictate between now and July, 30 to 45 minutes a day on this, you'd still be in a good spot. Now, obviously, the more time you can dictate as your hours start slowing down, we can put more toward our business. But at least by the beginning of July, you've already got a few clients, right? The average right now is people are getting their client month one. On average, takes them 1 week. So think about that. We could already have a couple clients already built up, start getting momentum, start pumping out your name out there, have all of our platforms kind of already building up. And then worst case scenario, if that was like, I like that idea, we could always do a delayed start date. So you could still lock in at a lower rate, but then start on the actual start date that you feel more comfortable with. But my personal advice would be to at least get your foundation built, because in July, that's going to be a hot month for training. People are very cognizant about how their body looks. It's hot right now. People want to look good for family reunions. 4th of July is coming up. After the 4th of July, come August, September, training is not as important or a priority for individuals because they can now wear turtlenecks and hoodies. They typically start, reducing that urgency, right?
Yeah.
Then it picks up really heavy again in like November, December, when it's starting to become that New Year's thing again, right? So there's usually peak months where you can really maximize on return of investment.
Okay.
Now, the other thing I want you to think about too that we could do, because you're right, 100%, it is a lot of money. Anything over $500 to me is a lot of money. So what I was thinking too is pending like your credit, like we have 3 different options that would work really well for you. But pending your credit, if it's good, bad, great, whatever, I have options that will work, but we have a couple options that could break down those payments a little bit smaller. How's our credit looking?
I've got an 800 plus.
Okay, so what I would suggest doing first is what we call fund my contract. And what this allows us to do is we take that 7,000, but we break it up into very small payments. So an example, this one guy got approved for like 84 months. His monthly payment was $155. Okay.
Right.
Now, the cool thing is it's either 6 or 12 months, same as cash. So let's just pretend you got that deal, whatever deal, you'll get a ton of different offers. Whichever one you choose, let's just say it's 6 months, same as cash. As long as you pay that 7,000 off for 6 months, there's 0 interest.
Right.
So you can always pay it off early with no penalty. And then if you didn't, for whatever reason, you just pay your monthly installment. Now, the program itself is 4 months long, so we should be able to pay that thing off a lot sooner anyways. And we're guaranteeing you're going to 3 times your investment. You put $7,000 in, we're saying minimum you'll make 21,000 back, right?
Right.
So again, if you could do that, and right now it only is based upon you putting in the work, it's not much of a risk, is it?
No, yeah. I mean, it's still a lot to think about, but it makes it a less risky proposition. So with the 3 times guarantee, what's the time frame on that one again? Is it within that 4 months?
Yeah, within the 4 months, during your enrollment period. Yep, 4 months.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, if you like, we can kind of see what you get approved for. So we actually have cards to play with. We can kind of figure out what's going to be our best course of action. So that way, when you're taking your notes, you kind of figure out, okay, I got approved for this. he offered me this. Which one makes the most sense for me and my family?
Right.
Are you cool with that?
Let me think about it. Let me think about how I want to approach this. And I'll definitely let you know. I think I'd probably do just paying for it, honestly,
Okay.
once I commit, but it's just making sure I'm in that right space. Like I said, it's a big investment, and I'm kind of the same way. Anything that's, for me, it's like once it crosses that $1,000 threshold, which I knew this would be. I wasn't coming into this thinking that it was going to be like, oh, $500, you got all this. No, like I knew it'd be a big investment. So it's, it's one of those things where you're investing in. Business is never cheap, right? So no, expectation was not for it to be inexpensive, but it's still just, I think I just need to digest the numbers. I'm a budget 100%. Guy after all.
Well, yeah, that totally makes sense for your personality, man. Absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll also send you maybe a condensed version of our presentation. So there's a video I have of my sales manager kind of going through those same exact modules, but a little bit faster, not as in depth, but at least it'll kind of give you a refresher of everything, because you're right. It's a ton of money, man. And you should feel nervous. You should feel anxious. If you don't, something's wrong with you, man. Like,
you're a psychopath if you see, thousands of dollars and you're like,
yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Or you already have your own successful business and you're just like, money.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll send you over that so you can kind of review it. 10-minute video. Cool. I'll send you over some of those slides that usually I send over the client averages. I'll send over the 3 times your investment guarantee so you can see the fine print that I read off. And then I'll also send you over what's included in the program. So that should kind of give you a fresh reminder. Now, I'm all about us thinking about putting off to the side and thinking about it for a while. Now, usually when someone does say, and I know because your line of business, you're going to be very analytical, but usually when other people will say they need to think about it, it's for a couple different reasons. One, they're not 100% sold on this will get them the results they're looking for. 2, they're not 100% feel like they can fully commit. Or 3, it's usually like a financial situation. Out of those, for you, out of interest, which one do you think most resonates with you?
For me right now, it's the time commitment. It's absolutely the time commitment aspect right now, because like I said, I'm still busy right now. I mean, I'm sitting in my office at work right now, and I've got a couple things I got to knock out once we get off the call. Sure. It's just so hectic right now. It's the time commitment. It's definitely not it's not one of those things where this is something I'm like, is this no, I mean, I definitely want to get into this, and I can definitely do the financial side of it. It's just wanting to figure out, of course, for me, cash flow perspective, if I wanted to finance it or if I just wanted to go ahead and pay for it, those options are both on the table. But for me right now, it's absolutely time commitment, because I'm the type of person, once I dive into something, like I am like head first, like I'm like, that's basically becomes my sole focus.
Yeah.
So just being cognizant of how I know I work and how I operate, especially when it comes to business stuff, I want to make sure that I'm being fair to myself, first of all, and not, because the last thing I want to do is get into this and burn myself out with it, whether it be with my job or with coaching. Like, that's one thing I try to be very cognizant of. So it's absolutely a time thing.
Yeah, totally get that. So cool. Just write in your notes, maybe if you are thinking about trying to swing it with right now, the transition from the busy to the slower period, start off, if you can, like in your head, think, yes, I can dictate 30 to 45 minutes. Great. If you're very type A, like you mentioned, and you're like, hey, I want to go balls to the wall and full tilt it. What we could do here, I want you to write down in this note, this might be very appealing to you. Okay. What we could do is that paid in full split. Okay. So you put 3,100 down, but I'd give you 60 days from your actual start date. So we'd have a delayed start. So let's just pretend. And you said, Jeremy, I love the program. I want to do it, but I want to wait until July or whatever month you choose. Okay. We're just going to say July as like for an example. I'll say, great, cool, man. So you'll put down 3,100, and then we won't your 60 days won't begin until your actual start date. So from July 1st, and 60 days from there, that's when your next payment would be due. And that way you save the $800. You can save time. You don't have to feel overwhelmed, but yet you also locked in at a lower cost.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
Cool, man. Why don't we look at our schedule? Do you want to maybe like set up something maybe on Friday just to kind of go over some things?
Actually, I will be out of town all day on Friday. I've got, so I'll be away to conference on Thursday. One of my best friends getting married on Saturday, so we've got his reception and all that kind of stuff on Friday, then his wedding on Saturday. So probably the best time to touch point. I don't know what my calendar. One second.
Yeah, no problem. Because I also have a Sunday open. I don't work Saturdays typically.
Let me see. So Monday is packed. I'll be driving back on Sunday.
Cool.
How does late next week work for you? I've got a decent amount of availability on Thursday.
Yeah, man. Whatever works for you, brother. I'm here for it. You're
I'll
giving
tell
me
you
plenty
what,
of heads up.
let me send you some openings I've got in my schedule, and you just let me know what works best for you.
Right now, if you just tell me one for next week, because you're already ahead of the game. We usually get booked like 24 hours in advance or so. So right now you're in a good spot. So if you said Thursday next week, what time is already open? What's the earliest you're open?
Lunchtime, so noon Eastern.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's
Okay.
lock in for noon Eastern.
Okay.
And then
Are you also in the Eastern time zone?
I'm in Central.
Okay.
Cool, man.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, brother, it works totally fine. So in the meantime, I'm gonna send you a couple things, man. I'm gonna send you that video. I'm also gonna send you, and I don't expect you to get it done or anything, but I'm just gonna send you, I want us to leave this conversation as if we did commit to becoming a student. I'm gonna send you some free resources just so it kind of keeps you occupied, kind of get your head in the game. So I'll send you over some like a lead gen mini course, just so you kind of get an idea of the platforms and how to utilize it to its fullest capacity. So I'll probably just shoot you a text, probably like Sunday, just say, hey man, how's the wedding? I'm not gonna try to sell you anything. Did you get a chance to check out the mini course? Just so we kind of stay in touch. I'm feeding you some knowledge. Cool.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Now, last question. I know our call's not until next week. Would you find value in speaking to maybe a student that went through this as well? They got really successful.
I mean, I'm always of the mindset more information is better. So
beautiful. So do you have a WhatsApp group chat?
I don't, but I can put the app on my phone.
Dude, it's no big deal if you don't. I'll set up a 3-way text thread. And when I figure out what coach I really think would be best beneficial for you, you'll say, Mike, what's up, man? It's Jeremy. As mentioned, I was going to hook you up with a student. The student is now a coach, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll get to, hey, when you guys can kind of link up and figure out what time works best for you. It doesn't have to be a Zoom call, but they'll talk about strategy. They'll be very transparent on what they're making, how fast they did it in. So any questions you got, I think it's best practice to really ask as many people as you can, because I want this to be 100% in alignment with you.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that.
Cool, brother. Well, if you have any other questions, that number I text you from is my specific number. Shoot me a message. Let me know if anything changes. Cool.
Sounds good. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the information and taking the time to go over this with me.
Yeah, man. I appreciate your attention, brother. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
All right, man. Later.